Okay, so let's kind of start at the beginning. Tell me, both for the article and for the radio audience that might not be quite so familiar with you.
Hmm.
Um, you're from New Jersey. How long have you been playing? What are your influences? How did you get to where you are? Your bio's not that informative about your early life.
Oh, well, let's see. Well, I'm originally from New York, and I started playing the guitar when I was about 14 years old because I was into bands at that time like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. And I was about 15. We formed, me and my friends formed our first band, and we were playing a bunch of songs from the Get Your Ya-Ya's Out album from the Stones. And the but I was looking at the Rolling Stones, the background, and I saw that there were a lot of names I was unfamiliar with. One was Howlin' Wolf, and things like I think Jimmy Reed, Muddy Waters, and I went out and I found a BB King record, and I started teaching myself some of the things from BB King, and then one of my neighbors down the block, who he turned and he said to me, he was an older guy. He was like, I was 15 maybe. He was about 21, 22. And he kind of goofed on me for listening to BB King. And he said, if you want to hear some real blues, come and look at my record collection. And he had all the guys from Chicago, like Magic Slim and Buddy Guy and J.B. Hutto and those guys. And uh, and of course, then Hubert Sumlin. So I started getting into the electric lead guitar. And at that point, also, I picked up a book on finger picking guitar, and that's when I started getting into people like Mississippi John Hurt. And then from there, it was just all both electric and acoustic blues, and that's what I've been doing for a long time now.
Yeah, so you turned your back on electric blues very early on, and you've been finger picking in acoustic blues
No, not
right the
really.
way.
No, I've played. I was playing electric blues and both. I was playing both of them right up until probably my mid 30s, and then I primarily now I focus on acoustic, but I still play electric from time to time. And all the things that I learned on the electric guitar, as far as the lead guitar, I've now been able to incorporate into finger picking acoustic guitar. So that's why people kind of think, like I have a whole band going on in my hand because my thumb is going back and forth between bass notes like a finger picking, but my right hand, my fingers could also play lead guitar at the same time. So I've sort of molded both of them into one style.
But you've also become, well, I suppose it's a bit more traditional for acoustic players, but you become much more of a storyteller and give a narrative as your show goes on, haven't you? So what's all that about?
Well, I found out that at least some of unless they're a hardcore blues audience, okay, I found that the general audiences, the way to bring them into what I'm doing is also through funny little anecdotes and stories. And because I'm just a natural born storyteller, I just incorporate a couple of stories into my shows, and people really enjoy that, and that draws them in even deeper. And even for the hardcore blues fans, when they hear stories of my travels through the Deep South and learning from a lot of the musicians down there, they enjoy that too. So I think for me, it just makes the show much more enjoyable for the audience, and the audience really loves that.
Okay. So your travels around the South, that's an interesting bit. I mean, I've just come back from Chicago and St. Louis and Kansas City, but last year I went down to Memphis again and out into the Delta. So just kind of going around and absorbing things at my level is a fascinating thing to do. What have you done? And give me a couple of stories that I can put in the article that would illustrate what goes on down there.
Well, the one thing that I've noticed is with every musician that I went down and located and sat down and had them teach me some music on the guitar and them telling me their life stories, uh, each one of them, you could give the same song to every one of them and they'll have their own different way of playing it. So that's I think the one of the most important things that I learned is to try and do things your own way. Uh, but I learned from people like James Son Thomas and Eugene Powell and R.L. Burnside, Jack Owens. Uh, Jack was particularly interesting because he had a friend named Bud Spires, his harmonica player that lived next in the next town over in Flora. And I had to go over to Jack's house. I was over there a few times before, but I had to go over to Jack's house and pick him up, and we had to drive over to Bud's house. And Jack went through, he had locks on all his doors inside the house, and he had a lock on his refrigerator because he didn't want anybody breaking in and taking his food. So I found that kind of interesting. And when we were leaving his house, he put a big pistol into his belt. And I mean, we were only driving to the next town over, but I looked at him, I said, "You need the pistol?" And he said, "Yeah, you never know." Uh, and that was pretty interesting. Another time I had to go over to Bud's house and pick Bud up. And he's blind, and I had to bring him over to Jack's house. But I didn't know how to get back to Jack's house. They didn't have GPS back then. And Bud was the one that was giving me directions, pointing at things. He couldn't see them. He just kind of knew, when they were coming up by the speed that I was driving. And he would be pointing at things, making a right-hand turn at this tree and a left-hand turn at that house. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So there was a whole lot of little stories like that from the years of me going back and forth down there that I wind up telling people in my shows.
Excellent. That's good. And you're coming over to London again, coming over to England again in a few weeks' time?
Yeah. Actually, it's going to be in September. The tour starts around in the mid-September, and it goes all the way up until the 26th.
And how often do you come to the UK?
Well, I used to go over there once a year for about 14, 15 years. My manager and my agent, he had retired to Cyprus. So it's been a couple of years since I've been over there, but now I met John Gregory online, and John is going to be my new agent. So hopefully we can get back over there at least once a year.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And how many dates are you going to be doing? This will all be in the a panel next to the article.
Oh,
anyway.
how many dates? I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. About 13, 14 of them.
Okay, cool. And in terms of your recorded output, your just slipped my mind. What's your last album that you released?
That would have been Mileage because
Mileage. Yes.
Yeah.
No, listening to some of it earlier. Is there anything else coming out on the cards, or should people go back and listen to Mileage as being your latest work?
I've got I think almost 13, 14 CDs out that I produced and or reproduced for me. So I usually generally play things from all of them, but I think this on this tour, I'm going to probably do stuff from Mileage and maybe stuff from another one called Shake Shake Mama. I've been writing a bunch of songs, but I haven't gone into the studio yet.
Right. Are there any plans for that?
Yeah, I think probably either in the fall or in the winter.
Okay. And in terms of the current blues scene, where do you see yourself fitting in, and how do you see the current blues scene that you're part of? Have you any thoughts about the future?
As far as the future is concerned, as long as the guy that does my financial planning, he asked me a long time ago. He says, "So when do you plan on retiring?" So they can sort of get a goal thing going on. We both kind of laughed because he knows what I do for a living, and I said, "Well, I'm just going to keep on playing, and I'm going to keep on recording, and keep on teaching." I teach a lot of blues guitar as well through Skype, and I have a lot of download lessons that people go on my website and they order the lessons. So
You
as
just
long as
disappeared
what's that?
again. Oh, back. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello?
Did you?
Sorry, you disappeared. You were talking about or you just started to talk about the teaching, which was the next question.
Oh,
Tell me
okay.
about some of your.
Yeah, well, as long as I can keep performing and keep teaching, as long as people want to keep hearing me, and as long as my health goes, I don't see myself ever stopping. So it's just a matter of just keep doing what I'm doing.
And you seem to be a very much in demand teacher as well. Tell me a bit about the camp stuff that you do and any of the people that you work with there.
Sure. I've been teaching, God, since I think since I was 18, 19 years old. So I've been teaching a long, long time. And I teach now also at these guitar camps in the United States, and I also do a lot of workshops at gigs that I do as well. So there's people, you may have heard of Mike Dowling. There's times when we're both on the same teaching circuit. There's a bunch of different people that I teach along with, and then on my website I have guitar lessons that I also produce my own videos and produce the music for that, and so people can download a lot of my blues acoustic guitar lessons, and then I have stuff on it. There's a company called Homespun, which is worldwide distribution. I have like 8 DVDs on there, so that's a major part of what I do. I really enjoy it, and I teach Skype one-on-one. So yeah, I really get a big kick out of doing that stuff.
Okay, that's cool. Um, so, is there anything else that you would like me to ask you about?
Yeah,
That
yeah. There's I've been finding that there's a lot of a younger generation starting to get into the blues now, and I have a friend of mine, and she has a couple of sons, and they've been introducing me to their friends, and they've been really enjoying what I'm playing. So I think that I'm hoping that this music can be passed on to other generations, because some of the generations now, even though they're exposed to a lot of music through Spotify, uh, they don't know about this music, and when they hear it, it becomes somewhat infectious to them, like it was infectious to me. So I'm hoping that the next generations really start being exposed to this stuff, enjoying it, and going out and seeing concerts.
yeah. Any thoughts about how we can get the message across? Because I think that's a perennial challenge for everybody involved in the blues world.
Well, the way to get it across is to get it across through the mediums that they're listening to. Spotify lately has become one of the most popular mediums. So there's that, and there's YouTube. And I'm sure there's a few other ones, but those are the main ones that I see most of that generation tuning into. Matter of fact, most of that generation, they don't even own CD players. So there you go. A lot of their stuff is downloaded or streamed. So that's how you reach them. You reach them. You're going to reach out to where they are rather than hoping that they come to you.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I think you really need to reach out and touch the stuff, really.
Well, that's how that's. But I'll tell you something. Spotify has been actually one of my methods of choice these days, because it's so easy. I just take my phone, I put it in my car, and I can just cruise around. I don't have to carry any CDs with me when I'm traveling, so it works real well.
Yeah, no, I get that as well. Certainly when you're on the move, and when I was on the move, it was much easier to travel light and without all of those sorts of things that happen.
Yeah,
Plug in
that's it.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Okay, anything else that I should be asking you about?
Uh, let's see.
Cover in the article? Because I've
Uh,
got.
no, not that I can think of. I'm looking forward to the tour that's coming up in the fall, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of my old friends that I haven't seen in a long time. So that's going to be great too. I have a lot of people on my mailing list in the United Kingdom, and I'll be sending out notices to them shortly. And I'm just going to look forward to having a great tour with my agent John.
Okay, cool. Are you going to be doing any teaching while you're over here?
Yeah, I think there's a few workshops I'm going to be teaching at, so that's going to be fun too.
Yes, and certainly. I mean, unfortunately, next time around, I'm going to learn to play an instrument. With some of my guitarist friends, I'm going to point in your direction, and certainly you've got plenty of stuff on YouTube that they could be inspired by to start off with, anyway. So,
Yeah, yeah. There's like I said, there's stuff on my website. Matter of fact, once a month I even give away a free lesson to anybody that wants to sign up for it. So, and that's all on my website. So they go to littletobiewalker.com and they can find out all that about that.
Okay, cool.
Oh.
Well, in that case, I shall make sure that gets mentioned too.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, right. Well, in that case, I'll let you go if I've got enough, and if you're happy with that, then I'll start getting it written up.
That sounds great, Steve. And thanks again for the opportunity to get into with Blues in Britain. It's a great magazine.
It's a pleasure, and hopefully on the next tour we might get you to Norwich. It'd be good to meet you in person, and I'd like to hear some more of your stories, to be honest.
There's plenty of them, trust me. There's plenty of them. All right, Steve, thanks a lot.
Okay, Tabby, take care, mate.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.